Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to take a necessary and frankly urgent shortcut.
We really are.
We're looking at a profound shift in human health, moving past all the conventional wisdom about, heart and vessel health.
The standard stuff you read everywhere.
Exactly. And we're diving straight into the realities of our post-viral era.
And we have a fascinating stack of source material for this one. We're drawing heavily on the work of Professor Viktor Vladilovich Kardavenko.
He's an MD, a PhD, specializing in rehabilitative medicine.
Right. And his research details a really rapid, cost-effective, and very specific approach to helping our blood vessels recover.
So the mission for this deep dive is, I think, twofold. First, we need to understand why vessel health issues are changing so much.
Things like cerebral atherosclerosis, general circulation problems.
Yeah, all of it. And second, we're going to extract the specifics of a home exercise. One that, and this is the key, takes literally 5 seconds to perform.
And it's designed to counteract these new, very systemic threats.
And this is the hook, really. The core idea that drives all this research is a huge paradigm shift.
It really is. Professor Kardavenko suggests that vascular suffering today is dramatically less about the traditional enemy we all know.
Cholesterol.
Cholesterol, fat metabolism, all of that. He says it's more about a specific microscopic structural failure.
Caused by recent viral activity. Okay, let's unpack this right now because that is a huge claim.
Right now.
For decades, the entire public health focus has been on lipids, on plaques blocking the arteries. If it's not cholesterol, what is the new primary vulnerability?
Well, according to these sources, the new focus is on direct endothelial lining damage.
The endothelium.
Right. It's that delicate single layer of cells that lines the entire internal surface of your circulatory system.
So everything from the biggest artery down to the tiniest capillary.
The whole thing. You can think of it as the sort of non-stick coating and the structural sealant for all your blood vessels.
So it's not a traffic jam inside the pipe anymore. It's damage to the actual pipe itself. The pipe is compromised.
That is precisely the analogy. The sources really stress that various viral strains, especially the recent ones, dramatically alter how our blood flows. They change vascular plasticity.
And it's because they cause this direct endothelial damage.
Exactly. They attack the very framework of the vessels, which violates their flexibility and their ability to function correctly.
And the cost of that damage must be immediate. The professor talks about 3 critical dimensions of blood flow that get compromised. He calls them the 3 pillars of life quality.
That's a good way to put it. The first pillar is simple. The speed of blood passing through the vessels. If the lining is damaged, flow is hindered. Simple as that.
Okay.
The second is the quality of the blood itself. So its composition, its oxygen saturation, its ability to move nutrients and get rid of waste.
And the third?
The third is maybe the most vital. It's the success in supplying target areas organs. If any one of these 3 pillars fails, the entire system suffers.
And I imagine certain organs suffer a lot more than others. What are the most vulnerable systems here?
Kardavenko's research points to 3 critical areas. First, the brain. Sustained cognitive function is just impossible without full, high-quality blood flow.
And those vessels are so delicate to begin with.
Extremely. Second, the crucial cleaning organs, the liver and kidneys. They rely on just an immense volume of blood and efficient filtering to manage detoxification.
Which is key.
And finally, the quality of our overall metabolism. So energy production, hormonal balance, everything that dictates our daily life.
So these methods are really designed to be a rapid way to intervene in this whole systemic post-viral condition.
Right. And this brings us directly to the solution. We've established this really devastating structural problem, and now we need a systemic, accessible fix.
The 5-second exercise. The professor describes it as simple, cost-effective, and built entirely on a system of short-term, very specific breath holding.
And the reason it works, according to the analysis, is that we're using the body's own internal pressure systems to create a temporary positive change in vessel tone and structure.
It's a highly targeted physiological maneuver. Okay, let's get to the specifics. You, the listener, need to know exactly how to do this 5-second vascular shortcut. It is incredibly simple.
The steps are precise, so it's good to follow along. First, place your palms together in a firm joining position.
Almost like a prayer position.
Almost. But make sure the fingers are joined and you're pressing firmly against each other. Second, you raise your joined hands up to forehead level.
Okay, hands together up to the forehead.
Third, take a deep, full breath in. Fourth, exhale sharply and completely. Empty your lungs as much as you possibly can.
And here it is, the core 5 seconds. Fifth, You hold your breath with your lungs empty for exactly 5 seconds.
And while you're holding, you're forcefully trying to maintain that joint hand position. So you're pushing your palms against each other.
In that fully exhaled state.
Right. And after 5 seconds, you release and breathe normally. That's the entire exercise.
So what's the physiological payoff there? What's happening in those 5 seconds?
Well, the sources analyze that the pressure changes simultaneously affect 3 crucial states: plasticity, vessel tone, and the underlying skeletal condition.
And this is across both the small and large circulatory circles.
Both. It's a systemic reboot, all achieved through this targeted pressure manipulation of the great veins.
The sources are incredibly specific about this pumping action that happens. When you exhale sharply and hold with the arm pressure, you're creating a powerful positive pressure gradient.
On the largest veins returning blood to the heart, you're primarily pumping 2 major structures. First, the superior vena cava, or SVC.
That's the main highway, bringing spent blood back from the head, neck, and arms.
Right. And by momentarily pressuring the SVC, we trigger a systemic response that dramatically improves blood return to the heart's right chambers,
The right atrium and ventricle.
which is essential for recovery.
And at the same time, we're pumping the inferior vena cava, the IVC. That handles blood return from the lower body and the big abdominal organs. How does pumping that one help?
Well, pumping the IVC engages the diaphragm, which optimizes your breathing quality. But crucially, it relieves stiffness in the intercostal spaces.
The tiny muscles between your ribs.
Yes. And this is where the viral connection becomes crystal clear.
That intercostal stiffness, that's the bridge back to those awful post-viral symptoms, isn't it? If those spaces get stiff, your chest can't expand properly to draw air in.
Precisely. Your chest excursion is sharply impaired. And this leads to that sensation of air hunger and low oxygen saturation.
Well, low saturation index.
Exactly. People suffering from this often resort to what the source calls continuous, shallow air intake, almost like fish movements.
Because they just can't take a full, deep breath due to that ribcage stiffness.
And this 5-second exercise is claimed to quickly stabilize and restore that natural chest excursion.
But if that basic breathing mechanism is compromised, the next stage of failure must be systemic. The whole cleaning operation suffers.
Let's talk about the liver's role here. Right. If oxygen can't be optimally absorbed because of shallow breathing, quality liver cleaning suffers immediately. The liver is an oxygen hog. The sources note immediate biochemical markers of this failure. Changes in key liver enzymes, specifically AST and ALT.
Which indicates stress or damage.
Serious distress.
Yeah.
And we also see a sharp increase in the general atherogenic index, which is usually linked to bad fats.
But here it's not just a diet issue.
No, it's a systemic failure. The optimal fats that our mitochondria need for energy, they're being rapidly depleted, not for energy, but to support this massive, failing detox effort.
So the body is running an emergency cleanup, but it's failing. And that leads to a sharp increase in underoxidized products and free radicals.
And that accumulation has dramatic consequences.
Where do all those toxic products go?
That's the terrifying question. The research describes a very specific, dangerous pathway. These underoxidized products and free radicals, they penetrate the vessels of the brain.
Wait, how does that even happen? That sounds like a direct assault on the brain from the torso.
It is. The sources pinpoint a critical entry point. These toxic products pass through a specific, highly vascularized part of the small intestine.
I see.
It's a soft part of the gut that allows these materials to cross the barrier and enter the circulation that feeds the brain. It's a direct gut-brain connection causing neurological vascular damage.
And the result of that is structural damage right inside the head. Changes in tone, plasticity, vessel structure, but now in the delicate brain vessels.
Which is where the statistics found in the sources become genuinely alarming.
They are.
In the period defined as just 1.5 years after initial viral exposure, the sources highlight these severe, shocking health increases. A sharp, unexpected increase in brain cancer formation.
And a corresponding sharp increase in aneurysm formation.
These are outcomes of profound structural vascular destruction, and it's directly linked back to that endothelial and detoxification failure.
And it's not just adults. The data on children it's just sobering to hear about myocardial infarction, a heart attack in children as young as 3 to 5 years old.
It's almost unbelievable. We also see lung infarction in 5 to 7-year-olds. And in teenagers, 13, 14 years old, they're presenting with major cardiovascular problems.
Centered around damaged heart valves.
And that valve damage is directly linked back to the changed detoxification function of the liver. The result is enlarged hearts, what they call left ventricular expansion.
So teenagers are developing hearts with degenerative markers you'd normally see in the elderly.
It's a rapid aging of the cardiovascular system, driven by this inadequate cleaning and structural repair.
This also explains that pervasive feeling of weakness or breakdown so many people experience. Can you connect that fatigue back to the cellular level?
Certainly. That daily state of weakness happens because our mitochondria, the power plants in our cells, lack the resources to form ATP,
Adenosine triphosphoric acid, the body's energy currency.
the fundamental currency for power and muscle activity. Without that energy, simple daily activities become exhausting. You put unnecessary strain on your ligaments, your fascia.
And the 5-second exercise is supposed to interrupt this cycle.
By rapidly improving the circulatory conditions that the mitochondria need to recover.
So the benefits are vast. Restoring power, stabilizing mood, improving liver cleaning. But the domino effect doesn't stop with fatigue, does it? It touches the digestive system, too.
Oh, absolutely. Poor detox and mitochondrial recovery severely inhibit normal eating
Why?
because the lack of systemic energy causes the pancreas to shut down its full enzymatic activity. And crucially, bile acids don't get properly integrated.
Wait, how does that lead to gallstones?
That inhibition leads directly to bile stagnation in the gallbladder. Stagnant bile quickly leads to sludge, then sand formation, and eventually a rapid progression to gallstone disease.
It's a chain reaction.
Started by vascular and detox failure, not just a bad diet.
This brings us to Professor Cardavanco's final and maybe most earth-shattering insight. We started by saying this isn't about cholesterol anymore, so where does cholesterol actually rank now?
This is the ultimate paradigm shift. According to the sources, traditional atherogenic changes, the classic hardening of the arteries that has dominated health discussions for 50 years,
Yeah.
are now ranked a staggering 15th or 17th in the system of general vascular deterioration.
15th. Are we truly saying that decades of anti-cholesterol campaigning is now superseded by this structural issue? Cholesterol is a secondary problem now.
It's a secondary problem. The sources state unequivocally that the #1 cause of modern vascular system damage is fibrosis.
Scarring.
Exactly. Specifically, fibrinolytic changes and the disruption of the system that maintains the natural genetic level of the vascular skeleton. The vessel literally becomes stiff, scarred, and inflexible. That is the primary enemy today, far, far above lipid plaques.
So all the methods we've discussed, the breath hold, the internal pumping, it's all fundamentally about addressing that core structural weakness.
And restoring flexibility. It's not about clearing fatty deposits. It's an approach built for the diseases of the future, not the past.
It's about healing that vascular skeletal system against the threat of fibrosis.
That's it. Improving blood flow, increasing plasticity regardless of age, and enhancing that tonic quality.
This has been a deeply insightful and, I have to say, a challenging deep dive. It forces us to reconsider everything we prioritize in our health. We went from a 5-second trick to a global health tectonic shift.
And it's a powerful reminder that sometimes the simplest intervention can address the most complex underlying structural failures.
So, what does this all mean for you, the listener? Here is our final provocative thought for you to consider. If the physical structure of your vessel's fibrosis is now the #1 threat, far surpassing fatty deposits,
Let's take away.
what immediate changes should you prioritize in your lifestyle today that supports structural regeneration and healing rather than just strict lipid control?
We'd really encourage you to explore the concepts of fibrosis and endothelial health further. It's a crucial next step because the battleground for longevity has fundamentally changed.
Thank you for joining us on the deep dive. We'll see you next time.